Respected judges, teachers, and all my dear friends, Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I am immensely grateful to have this opportunity to speak here today. The topic I have been assigned to speak on is Glasgow Climate Change Conference Hopes and Concerns. So, climate change, in contrast to not the very distant past, is a very much discussed about topic right now. It refers to the long term shifts in temperature patterns and weather patterns, which might be natural, but since the 1800s, human activities have been the major driver for climate change. People are now realizing how these things might adversely affect us. So, coming back to the conference, this COP26 or the United Nations Conference of Parties was held with two major aims. The first one being to cut global carbon emissions so as to keep the global warming temperature rise under 1.5 degrees Celsius by the year 2100. And the second objective being to put an end to humanity's dependence on coal as a fuel. The COP at Paris in 2015 is considered historic as almost 200 countries signed a treaty which bound them to do whatever they could to keep the global warming temperatures under 2 degrees Celsius by the end of this century and pursue all efforts to keep it under 1.5 degrees Celsius. This difference of half a degree is significant. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, through a report in 2018, showed how a world with 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming temperature rise would look when compared to that with a 2 degrees Celsius of global warming temperature. At 1.5 degrees Celsius, almost 350 million people in urban areas would be exposed to severe drought, and this figure rises up to 411 million people when it is at 2 degrees Celsius. At 2 degrees Celsius, the Arctic ice would certainly melt, and almost 37% of the world would be exposed to severe heat, extreme heat, as compared to 14% to that of the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature Earth. So now keeping in mind that land heats faster and much more than ocean, this 2 degree temperature rise could mean to be a 6 degree temperature rise in some tropical regions. Now, even if countries manage to deploy technology that extracts carbon dioxide from oxygen or manage to substantially cut emissions or if they are able to rejuvenate acres and acres of dense forests, we might see the next few decades where the global warming temperature stays under 1.5 degrees Celsius and eventually cools down. But this, however, is the best case scenario. It requires the whole world to produce not more than 18 billion tons of carbon dioxide by the year 2030. Currently, the world produces 36 to 40 billion tons of carbon dioxide, and in this COP26, countries have taken pledge to keep it under 33 billion pounds. However, 95% of countries are not yet legally bound to do it. Now, if we want to take serious climate actions or if we want to cut emissions, how do we do it? The first thing we could do is cut fossil fuel usage in the first place. Now we need to see which ones do we need to cut. Here come the unholy trinity. Coal, oil, and natural gas are the unholy trinity that consume 80% of the world's fossil fuel usages. Now we need to see which ones are used and by how much by the three major emitters of the world: US, China, and India. Seeing particularly coal, which is the majorly consumed fossil fuel, coal takes up 70% of India's energy production fossil fuel usage, and this figure is 60% for China and just 20% for US. Now, when we need to cut emissions, there are certain serious concerns. Taking India's case, from an environmental view, this explicit mention of coal, or rather any fossil fuel, would be a positive including for India. But in a developmental view, this mention for coal constrains us of our choice from fossil fuels. We might even get into a situation where we will need to take global help, which approach was taken by South Africa previously. And the second major concern is finance, of course. In this COP26, climate change finance was a major issue with constant and considerable frustration from developing countries for the $100 billion promises not being met. There was also a call for double adaptive finance by 2025, which implies mobilizing of $40 billion dollars, and which is particularly less than what is required right now. According to United Nations, almost $70 billion are required right now, and this would keep on increasing over the years. Now, to conclude my speech, in short, all I have to say is what this COP26 has achieved was necessary, if not sufficient, for climate change action. As the UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres put it, our addiction to fossil fuels is shrinking humanity to a brink. Now we have a choice: either we stop it or it stops us. Thank you.